Hello everyone, today we will be discussing about the C programming language. So here for the diploma candidates who are going to appear for the exams, I have just referred the DCET question papers, the previous year question papers for solving some of the problems. So let us move how to solve the problems on the given concept. So the first one, any C program, how does it starts with? Must contain at least one function, need not contain any function, needs input data, must contain two functions only. So what you would guess for the answer? Let me take an example, a small example. So here you can see any C programming language, it starts with the header file. This is the concept of how we are writing a program, right? So here it starts with the header, then you come to a function. So any C programming language will start with a main function, right? At least one function, and that is the main function. Then you want to do some of the operations like adding two numbers or multiplication or calculating some simple interest or some other operations can be held inside this particular main function. So you can see here that every C program will have at least one function. Alright, so here what should be the answer? The answer should be must contain at least one function. So first one is the right answer, fine. And the other things, if you want in more detail, so here if you want some another function that you can include in your C program, that is called as user defined function. So more than one function can be included in a function, but as you can, when you are writing a C program, there should be at least one main function. One function is required. Alright, so let us move to the next question. The format identifier %i is also used for dash data type. What type of data type does %i refers to? So there are the options: character, integer, float, or a double. So here you are using %i. So %i or using %d. What is that %d? It is for the integer type format specifier or format identifier, right? So even you can use %i as an integer type. So what does this %i do? Here this %i will also take the inputs like your decimal or octal or hexadecimal. So octal will be referred as 0 and your hexadecimal as 0x, right? So that will be again converted into a decimal integer. So here I have just taken an example to make it more clear with a small example. So here you can even use a %d for an integer, which will display you the integer format, and you can use percentage %i, which is also an integer data type that will take a octal or hexadecimal value and it will be converted into a decimal value. Fine. So percentage %i is nothing but it is an integer data type, a format identifier similar to percentage %d. Alright. So the answer is second one, integer, int. So next question is, which of the following is a ternary operator? So first let us discuss a little bit about ternary operator. So what is this ternary operator? I think you have you know what is ternary. That means 3 different arguments will be taken here. So it accepts 3 arguments and it will work similar to if statement. So what is that if statement? If you are how you are going to do that? If the condition, you have if and then the condition, if that condition is true then it will execute, else it will go to the next statement, the first statement, or it will go to the next statement. So it will act similar to that of if statement. So here what is this ternary operator? So instead of using so many line of code, you can just include a operator. So let us see which is this operators, which is the operator is right, which falls in ternary operator. Here you can see these 2 operators, which is the first second option. It is the left shift and the right shift operator. So this doesn't fall into ternary operator. Then moving on here, when you can see ampersand, that is a logical operator. So this is also not the operator you are going to use. So can you see the third option? Yeah, so this is the right answer because you are going to have here the condition before the question mark. You are going to ask the condition or you are asking the question, and then if it is true it will be executed before this, the statement before this semicolon. If it is false then it will execute the statement after the semicolon. Alright, so this is the right answer. Fine. So we'll move to the next question. So here the next question is, when do while loop terminates, then conditional expression, what does it returns? So when do while loop terminate, what will be the return value? So what is the return value? What is this return values? So do while loop falls in what type of statements? It falls in conditional statement. So what is this conditional statement? If the condition is true, then it will return you the value as 1. If the condition is false, then it will return you the value as 0. Alright, so what does it mean? True is specified as 1 and false is specified as 0. Okay, so here now let us read this particular statement again. So when this do while loop terminates, so conditional expression returns what? So here do while loop is again a conditional statement. So when the conditional statement terminate, that means what? There is something that has happened which resulted into a false. So it could not execute the loop. So it had to terminate. So false will tell you as the number as 0. Okay, so it will tell you as 0. If it is the expression is evaluated, then it would be 1. So non-zero minus 1, it does not come into picture here. Fine. So the right answer is 0. Clear? So now we'll move to the next question. So here it has been asked as which of the following function is more appropriate for reading in a multi-word string. So here multi-word string, what does it mean? It is the string of characters. So you may have you are not just having a alphabet here, a set of alphabets, that is called as string. Fine. So here you can say apple. Apple is a word, right, which is a multi word string. So A P P L E, so it has a set of string. So what it is telling you here, which function is more appropriate for reading in a multiple word string. So here it is saying you the function that reads. Fine. So by seeing the options itself, you can eliminate two different functions from the list. So which are those? Do you feel here which is not the function for reading? That is the printf function and puts function. So we will eliminate these two functions. Why are these functions used? These functions are used for printing purpose, not reading purpose. So in our options itself, two functions are being eliminated. So now the remaining is scanf and gets function, or you can call it as getS function. So which is the appropriate function? You can feel it is the gets function. So getS function, it will read a multiple word string. So basically when you are using a strings, when you are reading a string, or when you are going for the concepts related to strings, you are not going to use a scanf statement for reading the string or a set of characters. You are going to use a getS function to read. Why you are not going to read from scanf function? Here you need to use a for loop, right? So instead of making it complicated, so much of complications, you are going to have a simple function called as getS function, where you are going to read a multiple word string. So the right answer is getS function, right? So is that clear? It is the second option that you are going to use. Fine. Then we will go to the next function. Next slide. So here what it is been given, just have a look. What is the right way to initialize an array? So how you are going to initialize an array? So as you know how you specify an argument or an uh, how you are going to specify the data type with the variable for array is, here you're going to first specify the data type. Alright, so all are having the data types, so it's pretty fine. You are going to see further what would be the changes here. So next is the variable name. Alright, all are having the variables, right? So till here it is almost right, fine. So we'll move ahead here. So can you see the difference over here? The difference you could find here is with respect to the brackets. So this is having a square bracket, flower bracket and a round bracket, right? So where you can identify which is the right way to initialize a array. So which you feel? Let's move further here. So here it is specifying how many data items should be available. It is fine if you don't have any variable, it will be dynamically allocated by the memory. So here you are having the different data items. So items are available in this flower braces. It is absolutely right. But what makes these statements different? It is just the brackets, right? So you are not going to use a flower bracket when you are going to initialize a variable of the type array. You're going to have a set of data with which is enclosed with the flower bracket, right? So these two options does not work fine, it is wrong, and even this option is wrong. So here you see that always the array is initialized with a data type, then variable name and a square bracket in which you specify here how, how many data items need to be included, or you can even skip this part, fine. So here now let us see which is the right answer. What is the right way to initialize an array? So it is the int num for 10, 20, 30, 40. So it's the first option. Fine. So let us move to the next slide. So here is something interesting with the coding stuff. So you can go through it for a second. So here you have a code where you can see that it is been using a looping statement, right? So here can you observe what would be the output of the following code? Yeah, just go through it what it is happening over here. First you have the main function, then you have a variable which is initialized to 0 int, then you have a loop for a is less than 5, a plus plus, that is incrementing, this is the condition. If it is true it will print hello. So what will be the output of this particular code? Yeah, so here you can see there is a mistake in the for loop, this for statement. So what is the mistake over here? Here always remember the for loop will be having three different arguments, that is initialization, condition, and incrementation. So initialization you can have it outside as well, no problem, but it is a rule that each of these argument, that is initialization, then condition, and the incrementation, should be separated with the semicolon. So even though if you write the initialization part outside, or even you write this condition part outside, you have to make sure that semicolon has to be specified in the for loop. Okay, so here there is a semicolon missing. Fine here. So if it was a semicolon over here, it would have given you a message as hello. Fine. So it would have given you a 5 times hello. Fine. But as you can see, there is no semicolon. It will give you a compile time error. Okay. So the answer is compile time error. So let us move to the next slide. So here the next question is, what is the return value of putchar function? So what does it return? So putchar function, what does it do? Let us see some of the options over here. The character is written, end of file, EOF is end of file if an error occurs, nothing or both character written and end of file if an error occurs. So putchar, what it will do, it will be just putting the characters or displaying the characters onto the screen. So it obviously means that the character is written. Okay. This is the right thing which has been mentioned. But one more thing, they have not told when exactly it returns, whether it is when it is not properly executed or it is executed, and what exactly. Just they have asked us when does it return the value. So it returns the value here. The thing is, here the character return, it will return the characters onto the screen, and if there is any error, then end of file, it will return end of file if any error occurs, right? So both the options are right, but we have to choose only one option. So which is that? Here, that is the last option, both character return and end of file if an error occurs. Fine. So it returns the character and it will go to end of file if an error occurs. Fine. So answer is the last option. Next slide here. What is the size of float data type? So what is the size of the float data type? So as you have studied in the book, what it has been mentioned, 4 bytes. Usually we see that you find the size of a floating data type as 4. But you can see here the 4 bytes. So you can tick on this particular option. But later you can see over here 8 byte. So 8 byte, there can be possibility that the size of float can be even 8. How does it happen so? So it happens because it depends on the system or the compiler. So it depending on the system or the compiler, the size of the float data type will change. So the option is depends on system or the compiler. Okay, so it is the third option. So third option is the right option, depends on the system or the compiler. Okay. So let us move to the next slide for the next question. So here it says that you are having one statement where you can see float amount. What is this float and amount? Before going here, above statement in C specifies as. So here, before going into the options, we will discuss what exactly this statement mean. So here a float tells you it is a data type. Float is a data type. Amount is a variable which holds the data. This amount will hold the data of the type float. That means what? Floating value. So amount is equal to, you can put it some floating value as 44.9, 58.80 or something like that. You can put it, that is floating point. So now let us see the options. So what are the options over here? So variable name as amount. Yeah, so you have the variable which is named as amount, that's right. Then data type is a float. Yeah, data type is a float, that is also right. Then float data has to be stored in amount. So yeah, obviously when you are going to store any data, that data will be of the type what? Float. So the last option is all the above. So you can see all these three are satisfying. So which is the right answer? It is the all the above. So it is the last option that is correct. Alright. So all the above. Now let us move to the next slide. So here in the next slide there is one more small piece of code you are going to have. Just go through the code here, a piece of code. So you have here a variable of the type character which is specified as a, then it's a switch statement. Then you have different cases a, b and default, where you are going to have the print statements. So what should be the output of this particular switch? So here if you see, you will feel like, okay, this is ch, so it holds a alphabet, so you get here switch to a, then you just go to this particular cases, then you find out that you find here the a, and you feel like printf a, so it will print you what? Feel a. Right, so what you feel is it will just print you a, so you feel that a is the right option. But you can see over here, I just ignore this one because printf it is just a typing mistake. All right, so it is printf, that won't give any error. So see here, switch, how you do a switch works. Switch work as this, that is cases, different cases, you have a set of instructions over here, then you see you have a break statement, right? A break statement. So what happens without a break? So how does this switch will execute? Switch the choice. So based on the choice, if it is first choice, it will execute some set of instructions which is been specified in the case 1, and then it will break meaning it will come out of this particular switch statement, right? It does not go to the next case or any default value, right? So what happens here? Here can you find break? No, right? So what happens? It's not just a will be printed over here, it will print you a, no break statement. Move to the next case, it will print b, no break statement. As well, it will print you a default statement, that is C. So the answer is A, B, C. Right? So last one is the right answer. A, B, C. Right? Hope this is clear. So output is A, B, C. It will print A, B as well as C. Okay. So next we'll move to the next problem. In C, relational operator not equal to is denoted by. So not equal to. So do you feel anything here is the right one? So this is something slash equal to, no, not the answer. Then this is equal to this, you just reject it, and this is something abruptly written, it's not the right one. So which is the right one? Not is first, then equal to, that is not equal to, right? This is the operator which is been used to specify not equal to, that is the second option is the right option. Fine. Okay. So now we will move to the next slide where you find some interesting executed code. So how many times while will be executed? So here you can see a main function j is equal to 1. So while j is less than or equal to 255, you are going to increment the value, and again you are going to loop it. A while is used for looping, right? So it will go on looping this particular condition, right? So j value will be first as 1, then increment 2, 2 is less than 255, right? Then it will be 3, then 4, 5, 10, 20, 50, all it will just go on incrementing. So in once it will go on incrementing. So here till when it does it increment? Let us take as 254. Now it is 254. 254 is less than or equal to 255, yes. So it will be incremented. Now it will be 255. It is less than or equal to, yes, right. So it will again go and 256. So 256 is less than or equal to 255? No. So how many times did it execute over here? It executed for 255 times. So the right answer is which one? That is the second option. That is 255 times the while loop is being executed. Okay. So second one is the right answer. Now let us move to the next problem. So here you are having a piece of code here. So what it is been allocated? X as 3 integer type, y as 3.0. Right? So now it will just check the condition. If condition 3 is equal to 3.0, is it equal? Obviously, right? The compiler itself will convert to the highest data type. Whichever is the highest data type, it will select and it will convert the lowest one to the highest data type. So it is 3.0, 3.0 again. So x is equal to y, yes, it is 3, 3. So what should be the answer? It will print as x and y are equal. So if statement, what it is, if it is true, it will print the first statement, else it will go to the next statement. So it is true, so it will print you which particular output. It will print you x and y are equal. So first one is the right answer. Okay, this was a simple one, if statement, but it could seems to be a bit confusing, but it is very easy, right? So next we will come to the problem. Here, what is the output for the following? So here you have a main function, I is specified as 2, and you have something here in the print statement as incrementation initially, then you have both as an incrementing operator I. So how does it evaluate increment operators? How does it execute? It will execute from right to left. So first here you can see plus plus, that means initially it will be incremented. So what is the value of I? I is 2, it will be incremented initially, so it will be 3. Then it will move to the left hand side because it's the rule. So here in the left hand side again it will increment the value of I. What was the value of I previously? 3. So now it will be 3 plus 1, that is 4. So how it will be printed? This as 4 and this as 3. So what is the answer? 4 and 3. Again here I wanted to tell you, as here they have not specified in the option as it depends on the compiler, because if you run in Turbo C it will give you 4 and 3 here as it is in the theoretical concept, but when you run into a GCC or other compiler it will give you 4 and 4. So it will take the value which is been lastly modified itself. So if there is any option such as it depends on the compiler, then you can choose that particular option, but as such here nothing is been given, right? But you can see with the based on your theoretical concept this is the right answer. So 4 and 3 will be displayed for this particular output. Fine, is that clear? Okay, so we will move to the next slide. So here is another piece of code you are going to have, but can you just keenly observe the things changes over here? There is some difference you could find out. So what is that? Can you see there is a main function inside the main function? That means in a function you are just calling the same function. What does it mean? Function calling itself. This is function calling itself. That is called as recursion. Okay, have you learnt about recursion? Recursion is nothing but function calling itself. So you can call the main function. Yes, obviously you can call any of the function, right? So function calling itself. So here you can see that first initially static int var equal to 5. So why it is been used static tells you that only once the variable is being initialized, right? Next time when you are using it will retain the value which is being modified. Okay, so first here variable is being initialized with 5. Then next here in the print statement it will print you the variable value. Here you can see decrementing is in the later part. That is, you are going to print it first and then you are going to decrement it. So now if where is what is the value of where now? Here when you are printing it is 5. Okay, 5. So next time you are using the value, it will be 4. If 4, again you are going to call this particular main function. Now the value is 4. So you are not going to again initialize the where, because it is a static. That means it is been initialized once and it retains the value which has been modified. Okay, so it will be 4. So now it will print here. Now the value of where is what? 4. Then again it will be decremented. So it will print you 4 and it will decrement the value. Now if where is what? 3. So again when it is 3, if statement is true, then it will go to main function here. Okay, then again it will print you what? Here the value as 3. Then again 2. Again 1. Fine. So it will go on decrementing. When it is here, when it comes where as a 1, it will display as the value as 1. Then again it will be decremented. It has to decrement, right? Now if where, now where is what? 0. So 0 means it does not execute the main function. It does not call the main function. So it will come out. That means a termination. Because if 0 is what? If it is false, that means termination. So here what is the option you are going to get, or the output you are going to get? It is 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So last one is the right option. Okay. So this is the right option you are going to have. Is that clear? All right. So we'll go to next slide. So here you have another code. So what is the output of the following code? So here you have a main function where you are going to initialize x value and y value as 12 and 7 respectively. Then you are going to have a logical operator, then not equal to, equal to, equal to. So what you are going to do, logical operator will be having a least precedence. Yeah? So first priority you are going to deal with this assignment, your equal to operator or not equal to operator. So here first you are going to put the value of x. X value is what? 12. 12 is not equal to 4. Here what will be the result over here? It will be either the true or false, right? So true meaning 1, false meaning 0. So 12 is not equal to 4. It is true. It is not equal to 4, right? So 12 is not equal to 4. So it is true. True meaning it is 1. So 1 will be here. It will tell you as true. And what about this one? Why is 7 is equal to 2? No, it is a wrong. Wrong meaning it is a 0, right? So it is a 0. So 1 or 0, that means true or false. So logical or. So here what it will do, true or false. What is the table for this logical or? If it is both true, then it is true. Otherwise if it is true and false, it will be a true, and if it is a false, it will be a false. Okay. So only if it is true, it will be true. True, false will be true. either of the one should be true, then it is true. That means, so here what was the output you got? Here it was 1 and here it was 0. So 1 or 0 will be 1, right? So z is equal to 1. So you are going to print here the value of z as 1. So which is the right answer? It is the option 2. That is the 1. So answer is z is equal to 1. Okay. So this is the right answer. Is that clear? Fine. So you have to just see here, based on the priority, you have to evaluate the equation. It is nothing but a equation over here. So you have to see the priority. Based on the priority, you have to evaluate the equation and you have to get the result which will be assigned to the leftmost variable. Fine. So answer is 1. Okay. So we'll go to the next slide. Here is another part of code where you are being asked what is the output of this particular code. So int k num equal to 0, so it has been initialized, number is equal to 0. So you have here, right? So after I was been talking about the ternary operator. So this is the ternary operator, same as if statement, taking 3 different arguments. So here first one argument you are going to have the expression, then you have the different statement or what to be displayed. So here num is less than 10. Num is what? 30. 30 is less than 10. Yes? Yes or no? Yes or no? 30 is not less than 10, right? So it is not. So you are not going to execute this one. It will execute 200. Okay, so in hurry you are going to see that yeah, this 200 has to be executed and you are going to search for the options. So here luckily you don't have that particular option, so you will be confused what happened over here. If it was a option as 200, then you would have selected that option and you would have moved to the next concept or next option or next number. So but luckily you don't have here. So what you will be thinking, you will be worried what exactly is the problem. I think this question itself is a mistake, the typing problem or something, right? You don't go to see the next statements over here. You are just going to end up your reading and you are going to see that it is done. But here you can see what it is printing. It is not printing the key value, it is printing the num. So this kind of tricky, not exactly tricky, but you can get confused with the problem. So this kind of problem can be also given. So here they are not asking you the value of k, which is 200. It is asking you number. So whatever you have done over here, it is of not concern. So you have to see that your mind is properly working. It is present at the moment you are going to read each question. So carefully you have to read the question before you are answering the particular problem. So here the num is equal to 30. So answer is 30. Alright. So they are just displaying the number. They are not concerned with the value of k, what exactly is happening over here. Is that clear? So the answer is 30. Okay. So we'll go to the next one. So here you can see that here a piece of code is been given. So what is the output of this particular code? So here ch, which is a character, so it is printing what? It's not printing anything. So what does ch will contain? What does it contains? So it is not printing anything. So what does it mean? Printf will always print the number of output you are going to display, that many characters it will be printing. Fine. How many output it has to be printed will be printing, but here it is not outputting anything. So ch will be here, the printf statement will return a value as 0 because it is not printing anything. So ch is 0. If it is that ch value is 0, that means what? 0 is a false. So when it is a false, it does not go to the first statement, it will go to the else statement. So it does not matter. So what is the answer? The answer is the second one, it doesn't matter. Okay. So thank you for this particular observation, and thank you for listening these slides.